two podcast hosts meet across the internet. As our month-long journey comes to an end, we go through the best, the worst, and all things in between of the new Scooby-Doo movies. Who will take the esteemed Scooby Snack Award for Best Episode? Welcome to Mysteries in the Machine.
I'm Charlie.
And I'm Ethan.
And we welcome you to the Scooby Snack Awards. Woo.
Yay.
A round of applause, round of applause. Oh wait,
applause.
That's like noises. I'm not going to use noises. This is my award show, apparently.
If whoever's editing this really wants to, they get like generic audience cheering noises.
It's me.
Oh.
Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
Well, your girlfriend's a Swiftie. I do not blame you for doing that at all.
It gets stuck in my head. Okay?
I get it.
It's her fault. Yeah.
Abby, if you're listening, this is all your fault.
So yeah, we are wrapping up the new Scooby-Doo movies. It's no longer new. At least not to Ethan.
Not to me. It is no longer.
Are you excited? We've finished another series, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do we have any final thoughts here on this show itself?
To me, this was a weaker entry than Where Are You? But that may also be my rose-colored glasses. I'm not entirely sure.
They were trying something different with it, you know?
Yeah, and sometimes it worked, but I would say a majority of the time it did not.
Yeah.
I think we'll get into what we liked and what we really didn't like, but I think by and large it's a pretty average bell curve of like there was some bad stuff, most of it was okay, and there was some really good stuff.
Yeah, there's something to be said for like how many times Scooby-Doo reinvents itself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like all around. And this time they were like, let's get some celebrities in here, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
We have an extra ham sandwich, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We have the funds today.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do something with it. Until they eventually almost go bankrupt and almost, you know, lose Scooby-Doo. So
yeah, but that's not for a while. At least not from where we are.
Yeah, but this one is a fun series, and I feel like it's not as well known as some of the other ones.
Because I feel like, at least for people our age, we know Where Are You, What's New, and Mystery Inc. Yeah. Because that's where I was coming from.
Yeah, at least for the shows. Some of the movies are even more iconic, though, than some of the shows. Oh, yeah.
Like Witch's Ghost, Cyber Chase, Pirates Ahoy is underrated, but I really enjoy it.
I love Pirates Ahoy.
I know you do. I know.
We're gonna have a fun time in like 10 years when we get there.
Whenever we get there. Yeah, for sure.
It'd be great. It'd be so great. But for now, let's do some wrap up, man. Let's give out some awards.
Oh yeah.
And our first award is for the best cold open, who goes to no one.
They did a shitty job with the cold opens here.
I am stealing the award and I'm giving it to you, Ethan, because you did a better job than anyone else here.
Charlie, you're so kind.
You did all of the work.
I did.
This season. You're welcome. You did
it. They were really lacking.
But also thank you.
Cold opens. I appreciate it. It was a creative exercise for me.
It'll get better.
Oh, I know. Like, at least based on what I have previous experience with, but we're not going to get to the What's New and Mystery Inc. era for a long time, so.
I'm pretty sure that the Scooby-Doo show, which is where we would be going next, has cold opens again, because it's...
Big fan.
We're going back to basics next time, you know?
Good. You know, you don't know for sure what's good and what's not unless you test your limits. And that's what this whole show was, is Scooby-Doo testing its limits with a longer runtime, including celebrity guest stars.
And eventually we get, celebrity guests back in,
yes.
not only in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, but, we get it in, some specials and some movies and some other stuff.
Like the WWE and Kiss and Uncle Bobby Flay for some reason.
Yeah. And there's, the Courage the Cowardly Dog crossover movie.
Okay, that I cannot wait to get to, because it seems like those two were destined to meet each other.
That's what it sounds like. I've no experience with that show, but...
You don't know Courage the Cowardly Dog?
I do not.
Oh, Charlie, you're in for a treat. Okay, it leans even more into the horror aspect than Scooby-Doo does.
That's what I've heard.
So I understand why you personally may not want to watch it on its own, but it has good moments, I would say, and it's one of a few animated shows that is technically set in Kansas, technically.
Hey, Kansas!
So, yep.
There you go, you got something.
Yeah, I get something. I get The Wizard of Oz and Courage the Cowardly Dog. Hooray.
You're welcome.
Yep. Thank you, Charlie, for bestowing upon me Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I did it. It was all me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ethan, we have another award. We have an award for the best song in the new Scooby-Doo movies. Who do you think we're going to give it to?
We have a much smaller selection this time around. I think it really only happened a couple times. Because, from the musicians we had on the show, there was Davy Jones, there was Sonny and Cher, and there was Jerry Reed.
And Cass Elliot!
I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, and Cass Elliot.
I think the thing is, in Cass's episode, you would think that she's a comedian based on how active she is.
Right.
In there.
For sure.
But, technically also Dick Van Dyke's a singer.
Yeah, but he's more of an actor than a singer, I would say.
Just saying, there are other people who were also singers. But our Scooby Snack Award goes to Davy Jones' song, I Can Make You Happy, from the Haunted Horseman of Hagglethorne Hall.
Yay.
With honorable mention to the only other song, Pretty Mary Sunlight, sung by Jerry Reed.
Why did you put in parentheses but not really on our little sheet here?
Because I don't want to give it to him. I don't want to mention it.
Valid, but we have a very limited number of options here. Also, we get Cass Elliot, Sonny Bono, and Cher, and we don't make any of them sing? Why? What was the point? Hello?
Why? What were you doing, Scooby-Doo? And also, technically the only songs that we have here are also apparently covers that were in the previous series. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, but I also think Davy Jones earns it for me with the fact that he had such a great sequence. Yeah. He was singing to the frog to placate it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In terms of context and the fact that it's diegetic helps instead of just they're at a concert and they hear this song. So
yeah, we have a chase sequence during the song. Yeah, it's very good.
Very good.
Jerry
All right,
Reed
Charlie. Next up for our next award, we have the best shenanigan. And Charlie, what are your thoughts as far as the broad spectrum of shenanigans that we had this series?
I feel I have been very vocal about what I think is the most mind-boggling shenanigan.
Yeah.
But we had some real good bangers, okay?
For sure, right? For sure. Yeah.
We had some wild stuff happening. We ate a lot of soap.
We did. We also had some laundry in there as well. But we've got 3 nominees for this award. We've got the flying suit or sighing flute from the Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair, the giant chicken from the Fricket Fracas, and Mrs. Baker's house from the Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair. So my nomination was the sighing flute or flying suit purely because, well, not purely. There's a couple of factors. Because of the spoonerisms that kept happening with it, that was enjoyable. I really enjoyed that. As well as all of Scooby's shenanigans with him in the suit flying around. That was all very fun and enjoyable to me.
But what's winning?
But our winner is Mrs. Baker's house that fucking flips over in the Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair.
It's just too good. It's too ridiculous to happen.
Correct. And by our definition, a shenanigan is something so cartoonish it could never happen in real life. So
therefore, it had to be Mrs. Baker's house.
Yes.
Chef's kiss. Amazing.
Correct. Yes.
Hello? Well, hi folks. Usually I think it's a custom that the winner of the award gives the acceptance speech. But in the case of Mrs. Baker's disappearing farmhouse, well, the winner has, well, disappeared. So I guess you are stuck with me. Hi, my name is Josh. I was the guest on the Mysteries in the Machine episode that covered the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair. And let me just say, it's my privilege and honor to accept this award for Best Shenanigan on the farmhouse's behalf. The shenaniganization of rotary motion played an important role in my childhood, and I hope I played a part in helping introduce at least one new person to its glory and wonder. Long live Scooby-Doo. Long live Batman. And long live Mrs. Baker's disappearing farmhouse. P.S. The Globetrotters are overrated. Say it with me. Down with animated basketball tomfoolery. 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 Okay, they're signaling for me to wrap it up. So, thanks again. May Scooby-Doo bless and keep you. Have a good night.
Now for our best disguise. We didn't have as many disguises from the gang, I feel, in this series.
No, it didn't seem like there was a need a lot of the time.
It happened once in a while, but, it wasn't as iconic. Sure. But you know who was iconic in this series?
Oh.
Dick Van Dyke and Don Knotts.
Correct.
Are nominees for this one.
Yes,
beautiful. Yes. They had to act out multiple roles, multiple disguises.
Truly testing their range as actors.
Absolutely. They're one-man shows. But we're giving this one to Don Knotts. He truly pulled out all the stops, and guess who's not coming to dinner?
Yeah, and in terms of how it served the story, I think it's... Mr. Van Dyke, sir, we love you, we promise. But in terms of how plot relevant it was, Don Knotts' disguises served a lot more.
Don Knotts also put the makeup on in his whole little sequence every time. He put work into it.
He did. He didn't just change his clothes and put on a fake mustache or a hat.
Exactly. We appreciate the effort.
All right, Charlie, this is a category that's near and dear to my heart. And one of our guests' hearts.
Absolutely.
Because we have Best Side Character up next. And our nominees are Uncle Nat, Shaggy's uncle, who is just Shaggy with a white goatee, and from the Loch Ness Mess, and Professor Flaky from the Cape Crusader Caper. So Charlie, your nominee was Uncle Nat. Expand.
I just enjoy this tired old Shaggy man. This is the first relative we have from the gang, also the first rich uncle of True. Shaggy's. This is the origin of Shaggy's rich uncle. And that the Loch Ness Mess is also just an episode that I've enjoyed rewatching a lot.
For sure.
And getting to see Uncle Nat's home with all the other relatives in it.
Yeah.
There's just so much there.
The Rogers family has some strong genes, I will say that.
They sure do. They will, negate all of your genes if you marry into the family.
Just know your children will look exactly like whoever you marry, and not you at all. When I nominated Professor Flaky because of the Spoonerisms and shenanigans associated with him, and I think it's a surprise to no one that Professor Flaky runs away with this award.
I think if Josh were here, he would be screaming and cheering in the background because I think he's part of the reason why Professor Flaky won. here.
He 100% is, and I have to give him credit for that. In fact, we should probably reach out to him before this episode goes live so we can have, like, live Josh reaction.
Yes. Insert live Josh reaction.
Wow. Hello, everybody. It's me again, Josh. What an unbelievably humbling achievement this is. I'm truly grateful to accept this award on behalf of the late Professor Flaky. His inventions and his charm will always... Ow, what? I didn't say that. Okay, by the late Professor Flaky, I meant punctuality was not one of his strengths. Like, he even missed the reception tonight because he didn't keep track of time. As I was saying, unfortunately, Professor Flaky is no longer with us. Hey, don't roll your eyes at me. No, okay. Just to be clear, the professor is alive and well. He is no longer with us at this awards show because he had to leave early. He used one of his inventions called, what was it? A CanSport tree? Oh, the transport key. He used a transport key to open a gateway so he could step out of his cartoon world and attend this event in our world. I know I would speak for everyone here in saying that Professor Flaky is a treasure with a noble heart and a brilliant mind. He did leave a short note here with a few words that he would have liked me to say to you all. Let's see. Of course, JD's and Lenelman. I am grumbly hateful, humbly grateful to be awarded this special prize of Chest-Wide Character, Chest-Wide Scavenger, that is, Best Side Character. It has been a pleal leisure to squirm alongside the daring Scooby Gang and the craped Kudazers, even as the Poker and Janguin tried to snatch my prized sighing flute. I must hip my tat and bake a tow to all who kept the dream alive, and to my loyal inventions that never once broke down. Well, not too much. Let us all keep plaiming for the cars, aiming for the stars. Thank you from the very bottom of my Bart. Signed, Professor Flaky. Damn, you gotta love Flaky. He even writes in Spoonerisms. Let's see, wrap things up. Shout out to Batman and Robin. Huge thank you to our beloved meddling kids as always. Love you guys. Now get ready. I hear this next award will send shivers down your spine. Watch out, because there may be a creepy monster hiding behind you. Ooh. All right, take it away, Charlie and Ethan.
Yeah, very good. Amazing options. And now, our creepiest monster. Ooh. Now, my nominee for this one was Mr. Hyde from Sandy Duncan's Jekyll and Hyde.
For sure. I understand.
I think he was just very creepy. As a man.
Yeah. Like, a man preying on minors is going to be creepy no matter what.
So, I mean, let alone the outfit, but also he kidnapped Daphne and just had a ball with it. So I was like,
yeah,
I'm not loving him.
I will say the other Mr. Hyde design in this show. What was it?
Oh goodness. And technically, Ethan, we have covered 3 Mr. Hydes because of their bonus show.
Oh, right. That's what I was thinking of, actually. Listeners, if you want to hear our thoughts on the other iteration of Mr. Hyde that's not in this show, you can subscribe to us on Patreon. $5 a month or more gets you access to Where Are We, where you can hear all about that.
Yeah, it is actually our Patreon episode coming out for next month, but it certainly features another Mr. Hyde because we didn't already have 2 of them in Scooby-Doo. We had to have a third.
He definitely has elements that set his design apart in that particular iteration.
Absolutely. But very significantly creepy. in Sandy Duncan's Jekyll and Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who was your nominee?
My nominee was The Ghost of the Red Baron. Listen, I love a good skull-headed monster, right? I love Space Kook. I love just any skeleton-headed guy.
I'm sorry, I just had a thought, and you saying like skull-headed monster, and I'm like, oh my god, he's Red Skull.
Yep.
It's the red, it's the skull, it's the German.
Yep.
It's the World Wars.
Yep.
Oh boy.
But like the pure stark white face mask plus the costuming, not to mention the stuff he does with destroying stuff on the farm and just being a general menace.
Flying so close to the ground, right?
Yeah.
This man. Also, the laugh.
The laugh is iconic.
It's not as bone-chilling as, Space Kook, but
no.
For a real person's laugh, terrifying.
Yeah. Absolutely terrifying. So, that's my 2 cents.
We are giving the creepiest monster award to the Ghost of the Red Baron. One creepy dude.
One creepy dude. All right, so Charlie, next episode is near and dear to our wonderful friend Josh C, not Josh R, of Super Scary. This is the scariest episode of the series. So we've got a couple different nominees. My nominee is The Exterminator with Don Adams. Just based on all the different Universal monsters we encounter. I love their designs. They're very creepy, very unsettling, and just in general the vibes, right? It puts you in the space of a horror movie. It's the most horror-esque episode of this show.
Why do you think we had Josh on for it? It was
that was my logic. That's why it's here.
It's absolutely perfect. And I think this was my nominee, was for The Ghost of the Red Baron.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, once again, it's just the vibes of The Ghost of the Red Baron, seeping through. Himself as a character, he gives the episode that era of creepiness all around, and you never know where he's gonna turn up. And we're in the countryside, but there's this flying maniac.
Right. He could be literally anywhere.
Yeah. It's also kind of giving some Space Kook vibes with the basically abandoned airport.
Yeah.
As well.
Right.
So I think it's very scary for certain reasons.
That's so valid, but we went with the more classical horror vibes, and we're giving it to The Exterminator this time around.
He has exterminated the Red Baron.
Correct.
And now, y'all, we're getting to the bests and the worsts. But first, we start with the worst. Our worst trap of the series. We didn't have a whole lot of traps in this series, Ethan.
No, we had to dig for this.
We certainly had to dig. But you guys will get that in a second. But our traps. Ethan, your nominee for this one was the giant glass jar from the Haunted Showboat.
Okay. It's because mainly that it didn't really help resolve the conflict at all. Because, typically, in your average Scooby-Doo episode, the trap comes toward the end of the episode, at which point the villain is captured, they're unmasked, they get taken away for their misdeeds. This happens about halfway through the episode, where technically the villain is trapped, but we don't know that yet. So he's just kind of let go, and the episode goes on. But
if they'd unmasked him right then and there...
Yeah, that episode would have been over. Regular Scooby-Doo episode runtime.
Yeah, and my nominee was for one of the traps from The Weird Winds of Winona. Because we had several, because there were a lot of different bad guys in that one.
Yep.
Mine is just for the pile of dirt.
Yep.
Because there was a lot of construction equipment, and then they just decide to, shovel this man into some dirt to trap him.
Yeah.
And that's all we got there.
It's just, it's not very creative, not a whole lot going on.
It's the least dynamic.
Truly. So,
we ended up giving the worst trap award to the pile of dirt.
It's so dumb.
Very, very dumb.
Not quite Scooby dumb, but we'll get there.
Don't remind me.
Doesn't he come up in this next series?
Yes,
that we're
he
doing?
is. He's in the next one.
Lovely. But on the other side of that coin, we've got the best trap. And my nominee for this category was Cass Elliott's chocolate marshmallow sundae from the Candy Factory. Because of how inventive it is, because the guests had a pretty active role in making sure that it happened instead of just being there, as well as the implications of what actually happens if you coat somebody in candy, like two full-size people. So that's why I nominated the marshmallow sundaes.
And my nominee was for the Batman floats from the Caped Crusader caper, because technically Batman caught the villains. He caught the Joker and the Penguin in the episode.
That he did.
And somehow they did not suffocate when this giant parade float fell on them.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yep. But we did deliberate, and we ended up giving it to Cass Elliott and her chocolate marshmallow sundaes. In the spirit of the show, being that there are celebrity guests here, we both appreciated how active of a role she took in making this happen.
Absolutely. One of the most active of the singers.
Yeah, we noticed that the singers tend to be a little bit less willing to do shenanigans. Not Cass, though. Cass was definitely willing to do shenanigans.
She must have been quite a riot.
Yeah, R.I.P.
And now, for our worst villain of the show. Were both of these my nominees? Or did you
I
nominated?
I nominated one of them.
Okay. So my nominee was for the Vulture from Wednesday is Missing. Because, I mean, the housekeeper, whatever people, their whole plot line, it makes sense for Adam's family. It wasn't engaging. There wasn't a whole lot going on here. We didn't even get the Vulture itself until the last 15 or so minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 20 minutes. There wasn't a whole lot going on with that one.
I agree.
And also they kidnapped a child. So
yeah, not great there. My nominee was the KKK, or the Hooded Ghost, if you wanted to phrase it that way, from The Mystery of Haunted Island. Listen, real world hate groups or people who dress like them are not people you want to be around. So
nope. And it's really telling that they chose to have 3 white guys dressed in these 3 white hooded outfits, and they're specifically targeting a group of African American guys.
Yes.
They're the KKK.
Yeah, they really are.
And so we give the Scooby Snack Award for the worst villain to the KKK, because fuck racism.
Exactly. We also have the best villains. Now, Charlie, I don't remember which one you picked for this one, to be honest with you.
I think I might have picked both of them.
You very well may have.
But I know I definitely put down the Joker and the Penguin from the Caped Crusader caper. Because, listen, were they not the most engaging, the most delightful, and also truly the most dastardly?
Dick Dastardly, if you will.
Or Richard Bastardly, if you want.
That is for exactly 5 people, Charlie.
This is a reference to our D&D campaign. But listen, they're the Joker and the Penguin, and Scooby-Doo did them so right. This was my first exposure to Joker and Penguin was this show.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I understand that.
You know Batman, but you don't actually I hadn't really engaged with Batman media until this.
Okay. Sure. Makes sense.
And also, they're in love.
Correct. Pangy Wanky, my beloved. But our other nominee is Mrs. Baker from the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair. If you can fool the Joker and the Penguin into doing things for you, that's an accomplishment, right? Mrs. Baker got them to be her henchmen in her counterfeiting operation.
Right? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Okay?
Correct.
Mrs. Baker. She might not have had the most interesting outfit but like, she's a crime boss.
She is, and she looked like just a generic animated grandma, but that is the secret, hiding in plain sight.
Also, she can ride a unicycle.
Correct.
And
which is very hard to do.
Being a terrifying, like, hooded old lady on a unicycle. Wild. Amazing. Beautiful. But we are giving the Best Villain Award to the Joker and the Penguin. Because gay.
Wow. Okay, all right. I'm sure you all know the drill by now. I'm here on behalf of the winners to accept this award, blah, blah, blah. But I bet you didn't see this part coming. I have a surprise for you all. Professor Flaky left his transport key when he had to make a early departure this evening. Do you know what that means? I can use it to unlock an initiation gate. You're not following? I should be able to bring the Joker and Penguin through the gate to accept the award themselves. Okay, I know it's exciting, but will you all quiet down a moment? I'm trying to find out how to turn it on. Okay, wait, I think this is it. Ha! Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm so scared this won't work.
Have no fear, the Penguin's here.
Penguin! Oh, you made it! Welcome to the circus.
Oh, I do so love circuses. They're such fun.
And Joker, pleasure to meet you. So, Penguin, you and Joker have just won the Scooby Snack Award for the best villain. Tell us what you think about that.
It's fantastic. Fortune favors us.
And condolences to the unfortunate runners-up. How about you, Joker? How does this award make you feel?
Sorta makes our day, doesn't it?
I'm sure it absolutely does. Let's give it up one more time for the Joker and Penguin.
We did it! Listen, I have got a plan.
Way ahead of you, my web-footed friend.
Fun time?
Fun time.
Yes. An excellent plan, my dear Joker.
For those of you who haven't figured it out yet, this is a holdup. Now, Pengy Wengy, the detonator is fully charged. In a few minutes, I'll pull that lever, and we'll make the Chicago fire look like a backyard cookout.
So, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for Joker and Penguin. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Let's turn the time back over to our talented hosts.
All right, so now we have our newer categories here.
Yes.
These next few categories are some of the newer ones. We'll bring them back eventually, but we won't really have to, at least for a couple of them, we won't have that for a while.
We're certainly going to have these next couple with...
These next couple, yes.
You know.
Because up next is our nominees for the least shenanigans. My nominee was Secret of Shark Island. There was not a lot of cartoonish stuff happening there. And I hate that that's Kelly's legacy on the show because that's the only episode she's been on.
Get her on for another Scooby-Doo show episode.
We will have to remedy that at some point in this next show because I don't want that to be her legacy.
Honestly, you could just ask her who was her favorite in like Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed and then choose the episode through that.
Okay,
that's why
sure.
When I was telling our guests, like, hey guys, there's a bunch of people from the live action movies in here. I don't think anybody actually went for those episodes. Oh,
that is unfortunate.
So I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. Yeah. And then my nominee is for The Ghastly Ghost Town, the first episode of this series.
Unfortunate. Well, I think also we weren't sure we were doing at that time.
Yeah, we really... This one I feel like is partially on us. It might have had more shenanigans than we originally gave it to, but we just weren't feeling it.
You know, Charlie, in the spirit of the show, we were testing our limits with what was and wasn't a shenanigan.
We truly were. And it just fell a little bit short.
It did. But ultimately, we did have to give it, because I kept track, we had to give it to the one with the least amount of shenanigans overall, The Secret of Shark Island. Sorry, Cher. Sorry, Kelly. This is not something you want to be nominated for.
And Secret of Shark Island had 11 shenanigans.
Kessler Ghost now had 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's truly sad. But now, our nominees for most shenanigans. Comment to editing, Charlie, we need another thing from Josh here.
Another live Josh reaction.
So, I nominate the Caped Crusader Caper.
It's a good one.
Because
Josh did push pretty hard for that.
Because the Spoonerisms. Need I say more?
The Spoonerisms, they carried this episode to the finish, and I appreciate that a lot. However, my nominee, The Ghostly Creep from the Deep, did not have Spoonerisms, but the shenanigans were absolutely top tier.
Instead, it had the Harlem Globetrotters, which is like...
Exactly. They're shenanigan... They're collectively a shenanigan machine.
They pump them out like it's nothing. So, but ultimately, we do in fact have to give it to the Caped Crusader Caper, which had...
Live Josh reaction.
54 shenanigans, our highest count.
That is the number to beat, and I don't think anybody's going to beat that for a while unless we do an actual movie.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And the Ghostly Creep from the Deep was only 6 shenanigans behind with 48.
Very, very close competition.
Absolutely.
Wow! Okay, all right. Thank you! Wow, thank you! Oh my goodness, a 4th trip to the stage. And not a moment too soon. I know this is the reason we all came tonight. This is the crowning achievement of the Scooby Snack Awards Spring 2025. This is the most coveted trophy in all of Mysteries in the Machine competition. And, of course it went to me. Because I play to win. The Caped Crusader Caper is the certified, qualified, justified, bona fide shenanigans per episode leader of the entire new Scooby-Doo movie series. And that achievement will go down in history. Your children and your children's children will tell each other the story of this day. This is the day that I stand victorious above you. I faced the unknown, and I battled life-threatening danger in order to rise triumphant like a phoenix from the ashes to be declared champion of this, the most important award ever granted among mankind from the dawn of civilization throughout the echoing waves of the observable universe. This fixed, unchanging truth will be the pillar upon which all future generations are built. I carry the world on my shoulders, and I laugh at its miserable excuse of a mass. No man shall henceforth be worthy of meeting my gaze. Acolytes may devote themselves to me insomuch as they shall perform the requisite ritualistic sacrifice. I have seen the face of God, and in the reflection of her eyes were the very secrets of space and time revealed to me. By my coming shall the great reckoning be awoken. These things I swear to you, by the light of the eternal flame that burns within me. All right, peace, guys. This was fun. Thanks for having me on the pod. Can't wait to be back next season for the Scooby-Doo show. See you later.
Unfortunately, listeners, we have to grade the celebrity guests from this show, and not all of them were good.
Oof. Oofa doofa.
Next up is Worst Celebrity Guest. My nominee is Jerry Reed. The man took himself too seriously. He did not understand the medium he was a part of, as evidenced by the fact that when a door was slammed on him, he did not turn into a pancake, which is incorrect.
He also didn't show up for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I guess his day rate was too expensive or something.
Like, what are we paying you for, sir? Come on.
And on top of that, he didn't even sing his own songs. What's the point of getting a musician if they don't sing the songs that they've made?
So sad. And my nominee is for Phyllis Diller. She's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about her other than she's just kind of there, and she could have been like anybody.
Yeah.
She didn't need to be a celebrity guest to do that role.
No.
It's very sad.
But ultimately, because of the misunderstanding of the medium, Mr. Jerry Reed has won worst celebrity guests from us.
Yeah. There's no contest, actually.
Not even a little bit. Charlie threw in Phyllis Diller because we needed somebody else.
I did my best.
They
But
did.
you know who was the best? We're gonna talk about that next, because we had quite a few nominees for this one. Boy, howdy,
Yeah.
we liked some of these celebrity guests.
We had some bangers.
My nominees were for Cass Elliot and Stanley Laurel. Because listen, we love a singer guest who is active and is not afraid to make a fool of themselves and does the trap, as we've already mentioned.
Right.
Like,
Solid.
what a woman.
What
And then
a
we
woman
have
indeed.
Stanley Laurel, who's there, and he's just being a little guy.
We love little guys.
He's being ridiculous buffoon, but he's also like somehow one of the smartest characters there.
Which is truly a feat.
I don't know what it's like. It's the wisdom versus intelligence of it all.
Right.
That's going on
for
there.
Sure. And
But-
my nominees... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And my nominees are the Harlem Globetrotters and Jonathan Winters. The Harlem Globetrotters, as we have previously discussed, are collectively a factory for shenanigans. It's always a good time when they show up, right? If nothing else, you know you'll get a basketball game with shenanigans. You'll get other sports-related shenanigans. If you're in defeat, you'll get that sometimes, because they all sleep together with their feet out from under the covers for some reason. I digress.
As one does.
And my other nominee, Jonathan Winters, is because I had no idea who this man was. Absolutely zero clue. But he blew me away with how funny he was, right?
Sometimes that's all you need, right?
Right, and the Grandma Frickert character, right? An actor playing two characters in the same episode. I don't think any other guest did that.
Like, just to say, for like the side character, I felt like we couldn't nominate Grandma Frickert because
No.
she's also Jonathan Winters. So like you can't
Yes.
separate the two necessarily.
It's his drag persona.
Exactly. There are in fact pictures of him dressed up as her. So it's amazing.
It is. It is truly amazing. But ultimately, Charlie, what happened?
Our best celebrity guests, we decided to give it to two. Stanley Laurel and Jonathan Winters.
Truly titans of comedy on this show.
I mean, just wait, Ethan.
That's why I said on this show.
Oh, I meant just wait for some more awards.
Oh, yes. Now, listeners, in our penultimate category of worsts and bests, we have the worst mystery. We've got a couple of nominees here. My nominee is The Phantom of the Country Music Hall. The mystery as a whole was just not... Like, the mystery was, where's the guest? Right? Where's Jerry? What's he doing?
He's in the corner
And
singing.
exactly.
Like, they put him on loop.
And to me, that defeats the purpose of having a guest in the episode, right? Because if you're trying to find the guest is not taking an active role in the story, which to me is a disservice.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. My nominee was for Mystery in Persia. And listen, how great of a mystery is it when there is no disguise for the villain? Just none. We did not have that. In a Scooby-Doo episode, someone did not wear a mask. I'm literally like trying to shake my desk right now. I'm so infuriated. What is the fucking point here?
Yeah, plus the racism. That didn't help.
I'm not even counting that for the mystery itself, but it doesn't help.
That's fair.
It doesn't help the situation.
Not at all. And ultimately, we did have to give it to Mystery in Persia for the worst mystery because there really weren't any suspects at all.
We are literally told within the first, 5 seconds of the episode starting who the bad guy is.
Uh-huh.
The gang has to figure it out. The audience does not at all.
Yeah, and to me, that's not correct.
I think that defeats the purpose of Scooby-Doo.
I agree. Now, who did it right, Charlie?
Who did it right? Let's see. Our best mystery. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I nominated The Ghost of Bigfoot. You know
You're
how I feel.
Stan.
You know how I feel about Stanley Laurel in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But put him to the side for a second. Because this mystery, it had intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have a whole lot of suspects, but it had enough people in it that we could have been like, oh, is it the hotel guy? Is it the creepy driver? No, it's the man in the wheelchair. Interesting.
Very interesting.
And we had secret passageways and footprints.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We did a lot of following of footprints, which is iconic Scooby-Doo mystery stuff.
Truly. My nominee is The Ghost of the Red Baron. Now, it did push the boundaries of what is and isn't a Scooby-Doo mystery because we did have a large variety of suspects, and to me that helps a mystery along quite a bit. Because could it be the mechanic with Scooby-Doo Creepy Face, as we've established? Could it be, the landowner trying to, extort people? Could it be the owner of the airplane hangar? It could be any number of those people.
Could it somehow be the farmer?
Somehow.
You never
Plus,
know.
on top of that, we had intrigue with the way the Red Baron went about doing things, in addition to how does this man fly without wires, even though supposedly he does. We had an RC plane. We had swapped bags of weed killer and crop fertilizer. And we had shenanigans. And we had one of the most iconic villains of the show, the Ghost of the Red Baron himself.
I really think some of what makes a good mystery for Scooby-Doo is just when you have clues, for one thing, you need to have clues.
Exactly.
And you also need to explain how all the weird shit has been going on in the episode.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You need to have a good wrap-up.
Absolutely.
So ultimately, we gave it to The Ghost of Bigfoot.
Truly an iconic mystery for this series. It gave the episode high marks. So I'm happy with this decision.
And even when it copied another popular episode by having a little man on stilts.
It really did.
I just enjoy it.
Yeah. But now, our penultimate category, the worst rated episode of this show.
I didn't even realize what the nominees were for a second, and how they relate to another one.
Yep. And once again, my nominee is the Phantom of the Country Music Hall. Because, as a country music fan, I expected more, right? I wanted more from one of the most iconic singers in the history of country music, besides singing through an intercom and being stuck in a room for 20 minutes. I wanted more.
Pretty Mary Sunlight.
That's all we got. That is all we got.
So boring.
And he didn't want to act like the cartoon character, which, why are you here if you didn't want to do that? It irks me. It irks me so.
And then my nominee for worst rated is Mystery in Persia, which, as much as we want Jeannie herself to save this episode, she is part of the problem.
She is.
In how racist this episode is.
Mm-hmm. Haley, we're sorry that you've showed up on the worst rated episodes of any show we've covered twice in a row. We promise we'll rectify this.
I'm pretty sure we have her on for episodes that aren't racist next time, but I can double check that.
You can do that later, but either way, I don't want that to become Haley's shtick. But ultimately, listeners, we did have to give it to the Phantom of the Country Music Hall for the worst rated episode. We kept track, and if you've been paying attention, we both gave this episode 2 out of 5 on the number of Scooby Snacks. Both of these were rated 2 out of 5, but for very different reasons.
and we had to figure out who was gonna lose.
Yes.
Like, ultimately, fucking Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
Guys, the drinking game for this episode, how many times we hate on Jerry Reed?
Someone's gonna die of alcohol poisoning if they do that.
It's been like at least 3 times.
At least. Well, maybe not die of alcohol poisoning, but at least tipsy.
At least in 3, awards specifically.
Yeah, for sure.
And now we must bring it home, guys, with our best rated episode for the new Scooby-Doo movies. Now, I think you'll know where I'm going with this one, but my nominee is The Ghost of Bigfoot.
It's a very enjoyable episode, so I completely understand where you're coming from.
I mean, y'all know that, like, before we even started this show, I was raving to Ethan about a different episode because of the Don Knotts of it all. But, like, this one, rewatching it with you and talking about it, it really sold me. And Stanley Laurel, chef's kiss.
An icon. We love him.
Best guest, best mystery. What more could you want?
And a lot of my nominee, for a different reason, is the Frickett Fracas. Listen, as I said before with Jonathan Winters, I knew nothing about him, so my expectations were pretty low. And not only did he exceed the expectations, he, like, broke through whatever ceiling was there, right? Because he was funny as himself. He was funny as Grandma Fricker with, like, his little isms and the shenanigans he would get up to. He was actively a part of the Scared Gang, which I love it when the celebrity guests did that because they're gonna get into some shit. I love the giant chicken. I love everything about that episode because I went into it knowing nothing and coming away with I found respect for Jonathan Winters and his comedy.
It's a very good episode. I agree with everything you've said. But the numbers for Scooby Snack rating. We only gave one episode a 5 out of 5 rating, and it was The Ghost of Bigfoot. So it wins the award for the best rated episode, with the Frickett Fracas coming in just after it, with a 4.75 out of 5.
Also, just, Josh, I know you're wondering, the Cape Crusader Caper came in at 4.58 out of 5. So a very respectable 3rd place.
4th.
4th.
Because the 3rd place was Guess Who's Not Coming to Dinner with 4.6.
I see that now. That is my mistake.
It was a very close margin, so.
Truly. 0.02 points.
Ethan, do you feel like we've wrapped up this series sufficiently?
I think we have.
Are you ready to say goodbye to the new Scooby-Doo movies?
I am if you are.
I'll surely miss it, but I think we're ready to go into the Scooby-Doo show.
I won't miss Jerry Reed.
Drink! Oh my goodness. And Ethan takes a drink of water. Well, with that, my friends, those are our Scooby Snack Awards. And until we come back, because we're going to be taking a little bit of a break between seasons, until we come back, we are going to go split up and look for clues for our next series. Bye.
Bye.
You can follow this podcast socials at Mysteries in the Machine Pod on Instagram. You can send a message to our email, mysteriesinthemachinepod@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a rating, a review, or let your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws.
You can find me, Ethan, on Instagram and Threads at ethan.t.hewlin. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram. And listeners, if you've been paying attention, we've been rating all of these. This is the only 5 out of 5 from both of us.
Ethan, we were getting there. We were getting there.
We can edit that out, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Sorry, Charlie.
Spoilers.